Hello, I'm Marcus McLaurin, and this is my mini TED Talk speech for class Speech 1A. My topic: from being homeless to being in school. So, what if I told you guys about 8 months ago, I was sleeping on a bus stop bench at Mount San Antonio College, right in front of it. And now I'm at that very same college taking Speech 1A, telling you guys about it. So, you may be wondering what changed. Well, the story I'm about to share is about my time being homeless and what effect it had on me physically, mentally, and emotionally, and how I decided to go back to school. Before I get into that, I just have to say one of the most depressing things is to be homeless on the street, seeing things you never thought you would see. I was homeless twice, once in LA and the other time right here in the Inland Empire. I was even on Skid Row for a time in Missions and on the street. But wait, how did I end up in this situation? Who or what made me decide to go back to school? And what lessons have I learned? Not only will we explore all these questions, but we will also explore the effect homelessness had on me, plus the effect school has had on me in my life today. So let's start with me being in this situation. Long story short, keep it short and simple, it was bad decisions. I was a DJ, making good money being a DJ. And I was a DJ for a very, very long time, making very good money. Unfortunately, I took advantage of things that I and took for granted some things that I shouldn't have took for granted, like time. See, with everything, time moves forward. So the economy changes, technology changes, there's growth in the industry, things change. So with that being said, the DJ aspect, the parties started to dry up. The weddings wasn't coming. I wasn't making the money that I used to make. So with that, I started to lax on paying my bills. I started to lax on paying my rent. Extensions, you can only have so many extensions with rent. Well, long story short, I got evicted out the door. So that was the first time I've ever been evicted from anything ever in my life. So I managed to find a place a couple of months later. I stayed with this family, a mother and her son. Very good people. The son ended up being one of my closest friends. And I stayed over there in Bell Gardens for about a year and a half. No, about actually 2 years. 2 years I stayed over there. And I want y'all to see if you guys can see a pattern. I stayed over there for about 2 years. And then unfortunately, they got evicted. So here I am back on the streets again. Now, just to put a note in this, this all happened before the pandemic. So I was on the street before COVID. So let me just put that out there for everyone to listen. So even though I got put on the street again, I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I have to find somewhere to go. So I talked to my friend Shannon, who him and his wife had a house. And I asked if I could stay upstairs in their house temporarily until I find somewhere. They said, sure. That happened for about 6 months. And then they got evicted. You see a pattern here? I see the pattern myself. So I was now really on the streets, seriously. For a whole year, I was on the streets, um, sleeping on bus stop benches, sleeping in the street, going to missions, doing all I can. I had a friend that was helping me along later in the later months. I had a couple of friends, so I was doing some couch surfing. If you don't know what that is, going from house to house on people's couches for a night or maybe 2 or maybe 3 nights. So I was doing that for about 1 year. In that course, I went back to my friend Shannon, who moved in a small apartment with his wife. There was no room for me. So I asked him if I could sleep in his SUV. So I was sleeping in his car for 3 to 4 nights a week. So physically, it was taking a toll. Um, my back, my knees, my feet. I'm already physically challenged to where I can't really work a regular job. So that right there compounded that issue tenfold. So I started taking a bunch of medicine, pills, things like that, in order to subside the pain. Wasn't addicted to the pills. It was aspirin and ibuprofen, but it had a lasting effect later on. Mentally, mentally, I was seeing things and I was dealing with things that I never thought I would see and never thought I would deal with. Seeing people get robbed, seeing vermin. Oh my God, the rodent situation in Skid Row and just all around. Um, that was immensely horrible. Um, Not being able to go places so I could shower, or I could even use the restroom because a lot of places was like, no, you cannot come in here. Um, Walking around with my suitcases all the time. I always had to be mindful that no one would try to steal my stuff. And someone actually tried to steal my stuff while I was asleep on the bus stop bench. So these are things that some of the things I was dealing with mentally that was really taxing on my mind. And emotionally, I started to sink into a depression, a deep depression that I don't really like talking about, but I have to talk about it because it gets me over the hump. So yes, I had a depression I had to deal with. So those are some of the things that I was dealing with while I was on the street. Well, during this time, I ran into another friend named Derek, and he pretty much said, "Hey, you shouldn't be living on the street. I just got inherited a house from my mom who passed away a year ago. I have plenty of room. Come stay with me." And he lived in West Covina. So I went out there to stay with him. During that time, I got on Medi-Cal, SSI, started, getting money from the state and, helping me with my, with my feet and my knees and my back and getting an in-home care and disability to some degree. And I went and got therapy. The therapy was helping a great deal. Mind you, this was all before COVID. Well, while I was staying with him, the pandemic hit. Thank goodness I was living in a house. It was really, really, you thought homeless was debilitating. Being homeless, then getting out of the homeless, dealing with that, and then having a pandemic where you have to be shut in the house, it takes a toll. So I'm working on my health mentally, physically, and emotionally. And I run into another friend of mine. This friend named Danielle Silva, she was talking to me about, well, I know the DJ thing is something that you like to do, but you need to have something that you can fall back on. And you're a very intelligent person. Why have you thought about going to school? Now, me, totally against going to school. I don't want to go back to school. School was taxing. I hated the thought of even studying, going back to school. No way. Well, I gave it some thought and I said, well, I can't rely on things like DJing and stuff like that every day. I have to have a solid backup. And a solid backup is me going to school and learning something that either I was trying to learn when I was younger or something that I was in the middle of learning and I stopped. So I went to Danielle and I was like, I was thinking about maybe taking sociology because I kind of always wanted to be a therapist. She did her magic being the fact that she goes to San Antonio College and she knows people. She got me in college. But first, I needed to get my high school diploma. So she got me to get my high school diploma at San Antonio College. And I was taking college courses, which is what I'm doing right now. But then another roadblock. Homeless again. This past November, there was some moves that was made that was kind of questionable by my roommate, and we lost his mom's home. So once again, I'm back on the street. So now I'm just in the heat of depression. Well, just to make the story a little bit shorter, I have a friend named Stephanie who was taking me from one of the homes that I got. Unfortunately, we had to leave because the person that was at that home got evicted after 2 weeks of me being there. And I literally cried on her shoulder, like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to go back on the street. I'm going to school. I'm going to therapy. I mean, I got things happening and I don't want things to go bad. So Stephanie said, "Come to me, come to my house, talk to Carlos, my husband, and see if you could stay here." And I've been right here ever since because they treat me like family. I look at them as family. All the while this is happening, Danielle Silva, who was elected president of the school, of the board, chairman, chair lady, chairperson, she um, put me in a program called Rising Scholars, which happens to be a program for people that were convicted felons trying to get a second chance going to school and go learning a trade. And that's what Rising Scholars do. They make sure that they don't get screwed over and they get the second chance they deserve. She put me in that program, even though I was not a convict. I was still looked at as somebody who deserved a second chance, somebody who needed hope. And Rising Scholars brought me in like I was family, and they treated me as such. And I've been in Rising Scholars ever since. So right now, I'm taking sociology, working on my transfer to get my degree. I'm taking speech 1A, as you can see. And I'm living in a beautiful home with beautiful people around me. So what did I learn? To summarize all that, what did I learn? Well, I learned how to manage my money. That's the first thing. Wow. But I also learned that no matter where you are at, no matter what you're going through, there's always hope. I never thought there was any hope being on the street. I really did not. And yet, here I am sitting right now in Speech 1A, making a speech about my time being homeless. I ran into people that gave a damn. I ran into a school that gave a damn. They all gave me hope and inspiration to be here learning, getting another craft, becoming a therapist, becoming a sociologist, being better than what I am. Yeah, I can still DJ, but you know what? With this, now I have something solid I can fall back on. So, with everything that has happened to me, and a lot has happened to me, everybody, I can honestly say, I've been through things that would make a person either despondent or at some point, like I used to be, wanting to end everything. And yet, I went through everything for a reason. And the reason was for me to better myself. The reason was for me to look at things straight in the face and find hope. I didn't have hope for a long time. I have now got that hope. That hope is here, and it's here. Mount San Antonio College, Rising Scholars, Danielle Silva, Stephanie, Carlos, they all turned my life around and made me into the man I am right now. Made me into the person that cares about my future, made me into the person that wants to see how this all plays out. And what has school done for me? Well, it made me give a speech under the parameters that I can do a speech under without just having a hip hop speech like I used to do back in the day. So everything comes full circle. I started off with school. I ended school because I was like, oh, I love hip hop and I love to DJ. And I came right back to school to basically massage my thoughts and to expand my horizons. And that's why I'm here right now. And I would like to say personally, hope is right around the corner. There's an old saying from a song. You can't always get what you want, but sometimes you might get what you need. Well, I know what I needed. I always used to get what I want, but now I know what I really needed. And what I needed was hope. And that's what I have right now. Peace to everybody out there.